Hello, I'm Dana Levenberg, member of the Assembly for the 95th District of New York State. Welcome to my podcast series, Building Healthy Communities. New Era Creative Space, or NEXT, is a community-driven educational and creative center located in Peekskill, New York. Its mission is to offer inclusive, accessible programs that promote creativity and empowerment for both youth and families. The organization emphasizes developing stronger communities through arts education, leadership development, and a variety of hands-on creative programs. Next offers a broad range of activities, including theater, dance, music, photography, visual arts, and workshops aimed at social skills development. Next also offers cultural immersion trips, where youth are taken out of their comfort zones to explore different cultures and communities. The organization stands out for its multidisciplinary approach, integrating the arts with personal and social growth, and ensuring that participants from all backgrounds and abilities can find a welcoming space to express themselves. It is a privilege to speak with Ridvan Idara, Next Executive Director, today, right from their home base in Peekskill. Thank you for welcoming us into your space, Ridvan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dana. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. It's pretty exciting.
Very excited. So can you start by telling us a little about the founding of New Era Creative Space and what inspired you to utilize the arts as a tool to help young people explore their identities?
For sure. So when I started, actually, New Era Creative Space goes a little further. We're now 12 years old as an organization, but prior to that, we started a theater company. At the time, the Peekskill Middle School didn't have a theater, and I don't even think the high school had a theater company or theater program. And so I thought, a couple of parents in the community, we were like, let's start a backyard theater program. And the city of Peekskill was really great. We were able to do it at the community center in the library. And so that's where it started. So we just gathered kids together and we were doing theater. And 8 years in, it became obvious that either we end this program, but a lot of families really wanted us to continue, and they wanted us to expand and do more. So in 2013, New Era Creative Space came into being, and we really wanted to create this arts center where it could be a hub in the community where young people could come and create together and really get high quality, creative experiences here.
Amazing, and it shows, especially now that I'm in your new space, but we will talk about that in a little bit. So can you elaborate a little bit on some of the core programs that you offer and how they cater to different age groups?
Yeah, so we offer programs from children from K through high school, and now we are actually going even beyond high school to college-age students, because we're finding that some of our students don't necessarily complete high school. So we want to be able to provide opportunities for those students. But we offer, in the younger ages, we offer more visual arts for the most part. And we are a very mission-centered organization. So really our mission is to inspire stronger communities through creative programs. We want to use programming as a tool to help kids think critically, to think about their community, to give back to their community through the arts. And so we're very intentional about how we go about even writing curriculum, training our staff. And so we have a variety of programs. We have, as they get older, we move away from just visual arts and we do more, media arts. We've introduced media arts. Theater, of course, has always been the foundation of our program. So we always have a musical theater, and really for about 5th grade and up. And this year we're introducing music and programs for our younger children right now. So we'll do more hopefully performing arts, and kind of like preparing them so as they age out, they can come, they can continue with the other programs. And our leadership programs, there was a need. We found that our young girls were really kind of at risk, and with the socializing, and we found that a lot of girls in middle school had self-esteem issues. So that just became, a program that we started about 12 years ago, and that program has really grown. So we've provided a space where girls are empowered, where they just have a place where they can be authentic and be themselves and not have all the pressures of society. And so that program has also grown over the years. And so that's like kind of over all the programs that we
Phenomenal.
we do.
Well, I know there's a couple more, but I know I'm going to get to that with some of our other questions. Can you talk about some of the major milestones that you've achieved throughout your 12, 13 plus years and some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in achieving them?
So I think one of the major milestones is that we've made it through 12 years. It's not easy being a nonprofit organization.
That's for sure.
And we've grown from just doing theater to, over the years, experimenting with visual arts and growing that program. And now at this stage, we are in the school district. So we offer after-school programs in the school district, and we're in 3 schools in Peekskill, in 3 elementary schools. Actually, no, the middle school and 2 elementary schools. And then we also offer programs at the Children's Village. So that's a big leap, right, out of Peekskill.
Absolutely.
And so we have programs in the schools, and we have programs in the community. And the great thing about the programs in the community, because we could just have after-school programs in schools, but there are a lot of people in neighboring communities that want to be part of our programs. Another big milestone, I would say, is providing programs in the Community Housing Authority. So we do 3 days at Dunbar Heights, and we not only do we do programmings, we also feed the students. And we've grown from an organization of just 1 employee and a lot of teaching artists to now we have about 6 employees. So that's a huge milestone.
Yeah.
And that's just happened over the past 2 to 3 years. We've onboarded some employees because as we are expanding and growing as an organization, we're finding that we need people that are full-time working. We can't do this work without people. And, as, nonprofits, we struggle because a lot of the funding is usually for programs and not for the people. And the analogy that I always give is, I think of baking, right? You love this great loaf of bread. And then someone says, oh, I'm going to give you money to, buy flour. But you need the money for the chef. You can't have bread without a chef.
Uh-huh.
You can't just give people donations for ingredients and not for the chef or the oven or the building in which the chef will actually make the bread. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to change how we see nonprofits and realize by funding operations, you're actually funding the programs. And the programs will do better if we're funding operations, and then we're not depending on people to always volunteer because people get burnt out.
Absolutely.
But if we are funding operations, then we can guarantee that we'll have great programs. So I think we really need to, those are some of the struggles, and that's the conversation I'm having with funders. It's like we need to fund the chef.
It can't just be capital.
Because you can't have bread
Yeah.
without a chef.
Absolutely. I guess, yeah, could get into why.
You can have
Complicated, yeah.
Wonder Bread, which is
Right.
not healthy for you.
Yeah.
But if you want good loaf of
Right. No, they still need a lot of people making those breads too, even if it is.
And you need the people making the orders, making the calls,
Sure.
ordering the stuff. So it's just an analogy that I use.
That's a good one. I like it. One of the other things that I know about next is that you have offered these cultural immersion trips for your youth. Could you tell us a little bit more about some of these trips and what the participants' experience has been?
Yeah, so in 2022, we started a cultural immersion program, and we took 9 young ladies to the Gambia. So these are youth that have participated in our girls empowerment programs. A lot of them have been with us for many years, and that's another thing we do at NECS. It's not a one-off, you come take a program and leave. We're nurturing the next generation of visionary thinkers. So we create the programs in a way that they want to come back. This is their home. This is where they are being nurtured. So some of these girls, what we were getting from them is a lot of insecurity. And I think it was a time when it was after the pandemic. It was a time when there was a lot of, a lot of them had gone through some form of trauma, and they were just having a hard time, as girls. So I thought of the idea of just like taking them out of the U.S., like to a whole different culture, and experience a different culture with girls their age. And so Gambia, because I have connections in the Gambia and a school there, Starfish International, they do cultural immersion programs. So we asked to be a part of that. And so the girls were able to go to the Gambia. They were able to volunteer. They were able to immerse themselves in the culture. So they stayed at the school. It was in a village. They experienced life being in the Gambia, not in a hotel, not not a resort, but in the village, in the school with the girls there. And I think what they got from it, I mean, some of the girls said to us it was life-changing for them. A lot of their complaints went away. I even remember one of the parents saying to me, it's like, I don't know what it was about this trip, but my child has changed.
Wow.
She's more helpful at home. She's more considerate of people. Because when you see young people your age in another culture where things are actually a lot more difficult for them, and still they manage to show up with joy, it really changes your perspective. I mean, this is a culture where, where we were staying, water is not consistent. I mean, it's pretty good for where they were, but it wasn't consistent. Electricity sometimes went off. Sometimes it was very hot. But the joy and the experience of being there, the way they were welcomed into their community, and just being part of community was really impactful for our girls. So so that was, and so we decided to continue doing it. And the next year we went to within the U.S. because it's really hard and expensive to travel abroad. So we decided, let's do something within the U.S. So I was able to connect with a Native American community and Oseti Wakan Mission, which is in South Dakota. And they invited us, and so we got to live on the reservation for a week with some Native American girls, and that was another powerful experience. That's a whole culture within the U.S. We don't know much about, and we don't know much about their struggles, and so it's a way to build empathy, to also help our students realize they're not the center of the universe. There are people out there having lives that are very different from them, and people out there that are with resilience, because the resilience we see in these girls, whether in the Gambia or the Native American community, is really powerful. It's something to learn from. And so we come back and we're more grateful, and we don't take things for granted. And we realize we live in the Hudson Valley, one of the most beautiful places, right?
Absolutely.
And so those are the reasons.
Resources,
and a lot of the girls that come back, they get more involved with NECS because they're like, it changes them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I guess the boys are jealous though, right?
Yeah, we've had difficulty with getting boys to do this program, so we're still working on it. One day we'll have a boys empowerment program.
Awesome.
But it's been difficult with the boys because sports gets in the way.
Sure. Well, and I think that leads us to our next question, which is how do you see the arts and leadership programs shaping the lives of young people who are involved? And can you share any memorable story of a student or students whose lives were impacted by the organization?
Yeah, I think it does really change their stories, their lives. And two of the girls that are the story that I can remember from going to the Gambia trip was the two girls that went, Helena and Ari. They went together to the trip in the Gambia, and they were part of our girls empowerment trip. And we've known them since they were in middle school. Actually, I've known Helena since she was little, and we've helped nurture these girls through the years. And one of the things that came out of that is that they were so changed and transformed by that experience that when they came back, they wanted to start a podcast, My Activist Life.
Oh, wow.
So, and we did it for a season while they were here, and they've both gone off to college, sadly for us. Very excited for them.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure that helped them get into college too,
yeah,
right?
but it was so nice that they came back and they wanted to really demystify activism and make it accessible to young people, right? And that
so
was
great.
their idea. It's like activism doesn't have to, it could be just small acts
Absolutely.
of kindness to your neighbor.
Yeah.
There are different ways to redefining what activism is so that young people don't feel like they have to wait till they grow up to be activists,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And what
great.
does activism even mean? So
Right.
that's a really great story that came out of this travel trip, and we hear from, I hear from parents every once in a while that our theater program helped their children are still benefiting from it years after they've left
Yeah, of
this
course.
program.
Amazing. So throughout its history so far, NEX has partnered with various local organizations. Can you talk a little bit about these collaborations and how they've enhanced your ability to serve the community?
So we're always trying to collaborate with different organizations because I really feel like collaboration is key, right? So we've collaborated, of course, with the city of Peekskill. Our work with them has been, I would say, over 6 years. We've been working with the city, which is a great collaboration with the Children's Village to bring therapeutic theater to kids that are really at risk and have had really traumatic lives. Besides that, we're trying to collaborate with the city of Peekskill right now. And we have in the past with our theater program, and we want to do more collaborations with the city of Peekskill and local organizations like Arts 10566. We've collaborated with them on projects, and those are the ones that come to mind immediately. But I also see all of our donors and funders as collaborators in this work that we're doing together, because without them we couldn't be here. And working with the housing authority too has been really great to be able to bring the services to these students who can't always come to us, so we go to them.
It's just amazing. It's just you're really reaching your tentacles out into the community in such wonderful ways. Yeah, it's really great. And what is it exactly that you're doing? I feel like you've talked a little bit about this along the way to actually understand and respond to the evolving needs of the Peekskill community, especially after the pandemic. But I know you mentioned a lot of things with sort of how you've evolved and you started doing this program and that program. Is there anything else that you can think of that you would like to add to that?
I don't know that we want to add much more, but one of the things we've been thinking about really lately is this group of young people between the ages of 18 and 24. And so on the one hand, we want to strengthen what we already have, right? And in this new space that we will be able to do more. As far as the programming that we have here. But this age group between 18 and 24, we do have a percent of children from our school district that don't graduate, or, or that graduate and they don't end up in college, right? So we're thinking really and talking to the city and talking to community members, how do we serve this population? So NECS is really working right now on a Pathways to Careers program. So the big idea is to have a media production company. So we would teach young people filmmaking, audio production, editing, and ways in which these are skills that can become translated into careers. And if we can hook them up with professionals and get them to apprentice with professionals, and so, but also pay them, because one of the things that for young people that age, they need to be paid. They need money, right, to survive. And many of them are too old to continue to be with their parents, or they have to help if they're home. They need to help with expenses. So if we can pay them, and honestly, if we become a media production organization where we do films for organizations, local organizations, we're trying to talk to the chamber, because the chamber has a lot of people who belong to the chamber. So if we produce film or videos for these organizations, tell their stories, and we get paid, So it's a benefit to the organization because they don't have to pay as much as they would a big media production company.
Sure.
But we get paid, and then we pay the students. So the organization is really supporting young people in our community and getting a product that they can use.
That's great.
I mean, just a few students these past 2 years, the few students that we've nurtured in the film making industry, filmmaking program, have already produced several films, short films,
Wow.
and they've interviewed like the Coffee House, and they've interviewed Rob at the PK Blends and made short videos. So we can do this for organizations, have them pay us, and then we pay the kids. And this way we can really create a pathways to a career for them. And we're very fortunate to be in collaboration with Sony that has been providing us with filmmaking and media and technology, and they, as of 2 days ago, they're still going to continue to support us. So this was really exciting. So that's our next kind of thing we're working on.
That's amazing. And I think, again, it just ties right into the next question, which is, now you've come this far, so what's your vision for the next 5 or 10 years? And are there any new initiatives sort of on the horizon that you're super excited about?
Yeah, I mean, this is the media production company within NECS is really what we're excited about, and being in this new space is going to give us the freedom to really strengthen our programs. So over the next 5 years, really to strengthen our programs, get this media production organization, media production lab, more like it, within NECS, really functioning with young people coming through our programs and training them and placing them with in jobs and in opportunities. So that's a big thing that we're looking for. But also as an organization, really becoming more sustainable. So I've been doing a lot of work and writing grants and having conversations with philanthropists, talking about supporting us through into the future. Because in order to continue to do what we're doing, we need to think long term. And we have to also think of this organization without me. What does it look like, right?
Right.
So, so those are all the things that we are talking about, expanding our board, growing our board, and really grounding ourselves so that we can have a legacy of an organization that could stand through time.
Amazing. I love it. It's great. If people want to get involved with NEX, either by participating in their programs or volunteering or even donating, how would you recommend that they do that? How do they find what they need?
So, well, call us. We are online at www.necspace.org. Actually, if you just Google New Era Creative Space Peak Skill, we'll come up.
Okay.
And so there are different ways. We need volunteers, so people can reach out to volunteer. Our teaching artists, as we grow, our teaching artists, we'll need more teaching artists. We also need students, so send students our way. And of course, donations, because New Era Creative Space, 100% of the children that come to us that need financial help, we give them help. We don't turn around students because of financial needs.
Great
and
record.
that is really the center, because justice is one of our core principles, which means every program is accessible to every child that wants to be here. So we will always depend on donations. So donating to us through our website is one of the ways to support us. And also donating, what we are working on right now, the campaign we're working on, is sustainable donors. I tell people, a latte is like $5 if you go to Starbucks. Imagine doing that once a month. It's not much for someone who might have 10 lattes a month, right?
Right.
It's like, if one of that can be donated to an organization that, such as ours, it makes a huge difference to us,
right?
because we have hundreds of people just donating a latte a month. So it doesn't have, because I think people sometimes think donating is like, I have to wait till I have a lot of money to donate. But what we prefer, if people donate little bits over, a lot of people just donating monthly, because then we can count on a monthly sustainable donor we can budget. We know that we're getting this amount of money every month, and we can budget. And also, the more people that contribute, the more it helps us do our work, because sustaining donors, it's unrestricted funds that we can
Yeah,
can help
that's
us
right.
keep the lights on.
Right,
So
you don't have
that's
to-
really what I'm asking people to do if they want to donate.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you, Ridwan. And for all of you listening, if you want to get involved in New Era Creative Space, please do visit their website or check them out on social media. Until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy. And that's all for this episode of Building Healthy Communities. Thanks so much, Ridwan, and thanks to
Thank
Next.
you so much, Dana, for coming.